Cool.
My name is Larry, and I'm a grateful recovering addict. Just for today, I'm clean for 2 months and 16 days. This is the longest period of sobriety that I've been able to maintain for the better part of my life. Today, I've decided to talk a little bit about my experience with drug addiction, my experience with rehabilitation, my experience here in Israel. I started using drugs at the age of about 16 years old. I began smoking marijuana every single day. That went on for about 10 years. Throughout that time, I was smoking marijuana very heavily every single day. Never believed that I had a problem with drugs because I would take short breaks to prove to myself that I didn't really have a problem. The longest break that I would take would be maybe for 3 weeks or a month, just to convince myself that I didn't have a drug problem, and then I would resume with my consuming those drugs. I grew up in a family where drinking was relatively socially acceptable, and I began drinking also at a young age. I would say probably around 14 or 15 years old. I began, hanging out with my friends and drinking. Slowly over time, throughout high school, I began drinking and smoking more often. I felt like drugs allowed me to bring the barriers down between myself and other people. I could move easily amongst different groups and communicate with people easier. Maybe it gave me some self-confidence. Maybe it allowed me to get out of my head. Whatever the reason may be, and I'm relatively fresh in recovery. Slowly but surely, I progressed into harder drugs, even though I always told myself I would never consume any hard drugs. In fact, I told myself I would never consume drugs, that they were only for losers. But slowly but surely, I brought every boundary down between myself and until I finally began consuming my drug of choice. So around 18 years old, I began consuming harder drugs. Right before college, I began experimenting with drugs like mushrooms, cocaine, opium. Went to college. In college, I obviously drank very heavily, smoked probably almost every single day. Whippets, cocaine again. Cocaine became even heavier. Got into serious use of cocaine and Adderall, both recreationally and to help myself study. Fell into a pretty terrible depression right around the time of my sophomore year in college. And I believed that I had some psychological problems, that I was depressed, that, I was a difficult person, maybe I had problems with relationships. I never really thought that my problem lied in the fact that I had a chronic progressive disease, which, left untreated, can be fatal. And went to a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists, with all of my problems. Tried to figure out what was wrong with me. Lost a lot of friends in the process, lost a lot of relationships. Went through a lot of hardships in my family life and just in general. It hasn't been an easy road. Once I finished college and came home at the age of 23, that's when I became acquainted with my drug of choice, which started off as oxycodone. And once I became acquainted with my drug of choice, my use took off on an upward spiral. Until finally, before I could realize it, I was consuming that drug regularly on an everyday basis. I would be waking up with withdrawal symptoms and figuring out where I would get the money to purchase my drugs, to the point where in 1 2-week period I had 3 encounters with the police, the last of which resulted in the police searching my parents' house and My parents had had it at that point. They had some suspicions that I had some drug problems, but up to that point, they were afraid to do anything about it. But once that happened, my family, they decided to give me an intervention. My father, my best friend, and my brother sat me down and told me that I had changed as a person and that I needed help. And as hard as it was for me to accept it, and as much as I didn't want to believe it, I ended up going to Mississippi for treatment. That was my first serious treatment. Prior to that, I expressed a cry for help to my mother, and she enrolled me into a detox program, which only lasted for 6 days. I tried everything. I tried religion. I tried psychiatrists. I tried psychologists. I tried drug counselors. I tried detoxes. I tried Suboxone programs, outpatient. Nothing really worked for me. Nothing succeeded in stopping my use. Even when I went to my first serious rehab in Mississippi, I was there for a period of 50 days and decided to leave. And the day that I left, I ended up relapsing, came home. Things got bad very quickly on that run. I ended up consuming large combinations of drugs. I think I had a seizure on one of those nights because I woke up on the floor with a table and chairs all around me. My tongue was bitten on both sides. I had blood in my throat. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. And I realized, even in the back of my mind, that that had happened to me. And so many other things before that had happened to me. I still continued to take drugs, even though I knew that alone, that seizure could have killed me. And I went on an even further downward spiral. I went on a big run, ended up living on the streets for several days with, homeless people in New York. I ended up walking the streets of Jamaica, Queens, which is not such a great neighborhood, looking for a place to stay, going with a homeless person to a three-quarter-way house where people had just gotten out of jail, where I would be the minority because everyone around me was, of a different ethnicity, being that it was Jamaica, Queens. And they wouldn't even take me there, so because I didn't go about it the right way. And so, you could say that I had certainly hit my rock bottom, where the drugs had stolen my dignity, they had stolen my pride, and they had pushed me, to the depths of my consumption of those substances, to the point where I pushed away my family, I pushed away my own values, I pushed away everything that was valuable to me in my life, everything that I had worked for, everything that I was raised to believe. And when I came back with the suitcase that I had left my first serious rehabilitation with. I was pretty destroyed. And even though my father made me promise that I would go back into treatment, this time I went to one of the best treatments in the world in Pennsylvania, and I went there for a 31-day program. And I still wasn't on board with my own recovery. I went through the motions, and I wanted to make my family happy. But in the back of my mind, I was protecting my disease. I was protecting the fact that I would still consume drugs when I left treatment. And that's what happened. I left treatment. I changed my geographic location. I continued to consume those drugs, and until it got to the point where I just isolated myself completely from everyone and everything. It wasn't so bad on the level that I had felt, I can't even explain, but I just felt morally, physically, emotionally, and psychologically defeated on all levels, because I came back home to my parents' house and I completely manipulated them into believing that I was completely clean, that I would not consume those drugs anymore, and I continued to use, even though that I knew that use was killing me and it was killing the people around me. And my parents wanted to believe that I was clean. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I went back to I told my parents that I had symptoms of withdrawal, long-term withdrawal, even though I was clean all those months. got a Suboxone doctor. I was prescribed to Subutex. Got a job in order to pay for my use. Went enrolled into outpatient treatment, got urine from my cousin in order to pass the drug test there so I could fool my parents that I was really clean. But slowly but surely, everything that's hidden becomes evident through your behavior. And one day, it just so happened that we had some family friends that asked me to meet with them and told me about a place in Israel where their daughter had received some tremendous help and that she was doing extremely well. And I had experienced enough suffering, to know that as much as my disease didn't want to let me go and I didn't want to stop consuming drugs, a part of me wanted to get better, a part of me didn't want to suffer anymore, a part of me wanted to get better and start doing things with my life instead of staying in the same place. Because that's what happens when we use drugs. We just stay in the same place if we don't degrade completely. And so my mom came to me and she said, listen, I'm buying you a ticket for a week. You're going on vacation. If you don't like it, you can come home. Just go and see how you like it. And, all along my parents were pushing me to go back into treatment, even though, they were under the impression that I was doing well, that I was clean. But I think in the back of their minds, as much as they wanted to convince themselves that I was doing well, they knew that something wasn't right. So I agreed to go on a week vacation to Israel to a rehabilitation center. And once I got here, they taught me that I was able to have fun, fulfilling. All those times that I was in treatment, I never wanted the recovery for myself. I wanted it either for my parents, to appease them. I thought I was going to lower my dose and then I would get back out and then I would control my usage. And it never worked. And today I recognize that for the first time, I want my own recovery for myself. And Israel's helped me tremendously here. The NA program is extremely strong. Recovery is statistically very strong here in Israel. A huge weight was lifted off of my shoulders because I realized that for the first time, because I've been having a lot of good experiences in this clean period, that I don't even have the same thoughts and obsessions about using drugs. I feel like the obsession that I once had is gone. That the drug dreams, the drug thoughts, the urges, here I don't have the same triggers as well. I definitely changed the people, places, and things around me, and that's helped me as well. But it was important that, on the times, the difficult days, I had people around me that understood me, that listened, that supported me, that gave me advice. And I feel closer to God here on the Holy Land. I started learning the Hebrew language here. I try to go to religious services regularly. I have a spiritual connection with my higher power. I pray, I meditate, I attend groups. I learn about the different steps in the NA program. I attend NA meetings. I share my feelings at groups. I try to live honestly. And I wasn't able to do any of those things at any of the other treatment centers in America. Part of the benefit of crossing the ocean is that it makes it a lot harder to just give up and hop on a plane and leave. It's a very long flight, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of energy. At all the previous rehab centers, it was a lot easier to say, I'm just going to leave. And even when I couldn't leave and, say I finished the program, it was easy for me to say, I'm just going to change my geographic location and that would help. But none of those things ever helped. I had to realize that I needed my recovery for myself and that I needed to put my recovery in the first place. It's my first priority. And I have a lot of guidance here. The people around me, my instructors, and these meetings, they help put a mirror in front of me to see myself, to see my character defects, to help me make the right decisions. Today I have goals. Today I have a better relationship with my family. Today I have a relationship with my higher power. Today I have spirituality. I have faith. Today I know that I want to recover for myself. Today I know that there's so much to life without using drugs, without consuming alcohol. There's a lot that I want to accomplish, and I've wasted so many years, and now that I'm here, and I'm very grateful to this place, and I'm grateful to the people that have helped me, and I'd like to pass on the same help to the newcomer, being that they're the most important person, because in helping them I remind myself from where I came from, and I know that I'm helping myself to stay clean with every person that I help in their own recovery. I just wish to pass on my experience, my strength and hope to the newcomer, and hopefully this message can reach somebody, and hopefully it can lead to somebody coming to this center, and hopefully they'll be able to be helped the same way that I was helped. Being that this is my 4th treatment, and it's taken me this long to have this significant, as as small of a period as this may be for somebody that doesn't use drugs. 2.5 months for me, it's an extremely long period of time to be clean, and I'm proud of every single day that I am clean. And I just wish that I can help the other still sick and suffering addicts to come to the decision that they also need to come get help, and that I can pass on the same guidance and the same advice and the same support, and give them the same hope that it is possible to live and enjoy life without the use of drugs, that there is a program out there that understands addiction, that understands the addict, that the idea of one addict helping another is the only way that we can recover. Because normal people that don't have addiction issues, that don't suffer from the disease of addiction, they can never truly understand the way that an addict feels and the way that an addict thinks. So my wish, my desire is to pass on the same experience, strength, and hope that was given to me. I'd like to pass that on to the newcomer, and hopefully eventually I can give back what was given to me, maybe by working in the field, or maybe just by helping people in the program. But I'd like to, I know that, in helping other people, I'm helping myself, and I hope that I can continue to do that in the future. And I'm extremely grateful. Hopefully this message reaches somebody. Thank you.